welcome to our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Glow.
I'm Kyle.
We're the fucking Morning Throners.
Welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We're the Morning Throners talking Arya 2 on the Clash of Kings.
The Morning Throners.
The Morning Throners. We're here, baby.
We are a
them.
Morning Throners. We are the Morning Throners.
So, Kyle, we're coming off of a slow Bran chapter. What do you think of this Arya chapter?
It was better, obviously, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
so
I feel like the
you
last
thought it
Bran
was
chapter, you came in like that was one of your least favorite ones of. After reading, you were definitely the least excited about that one in recent history.
I forget what was going on last week, too.
Not much. He was just, I mean, as far as what,
No, I just meant it might have been
Gotcha.
outside influence. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have been just not hyped for another reason. But
I mean, it wasn't very intriguing. I think a little bit more goes on in this one, but
yeah, it's definitely a lot more kind of like the interactions. I guess like a lot of the brand stuff, and it's just by nature of who he's around. But like, I mean, you got Hodor, you know, you got Maester Lewin, who's kind of like not sciencey, but like, you know, preachy to Bran, you know,
Yeah.
like, and like he kind of goes into like, but actually kind of stuff, you know, and all that. So it helps that there's a little more interesting characters involved in these other chapters. Like,
So,
I mean, you got
I feel like,
Fighter and Rorg or whatever his name is,
Mhm.
and like, I mean, some of these people that would never be around Bran.
definitely
and,
some different characters
Yeah.
on the road.
you're right. I agree that the characters around Arya right now are pretty interesting, but on the other hand, I feel like the first Arya chapter and the first Bran chapter are kind of just like the first Arya chapter, just basically she's like, hey, I'm with these new people, Hot Pie, Gendry, Lami. We don't get the
she got in
names.
that big fight though.
Yeah, she got in the big fight, but we don't get any of the names of the people, right? Of the three people. But she, even in the first chapter, she sees these three people in chains.
Okay,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
she
then in this
mentions
Bran
them, yeah.
chapter, the first Bran chapter, right? Again, like not much happened, but we meet a few new guardsmen. We don't meet them, but we hear of a few new guardsmen, and then we hear a lot about these two new Walder boys, right? And we hear about a fight in that one, like a little confrontation. But again, I think the first Bran chapter and the first Arya chapter were probably just like, hey, here's some new characters that are going to be with Arya / Bran for a little bit. Let's
Yeah,
introduce you
setups.
to them. And then Arya 2 is like, okay, now these characters are doing something. Maybe that's why in the first Arya chapter and Bran chapter, potentially boring.
So you're trying to say
Arya-
that it's unfair to compare this one
two.
to the last
Exactly, apples and oranges. First
All
chapter.
right, moving on. So we'll get it started.
one. You could have just said those two sentences.
Yeah.
That's right.
He dove into a whole.
you would have been like,
fucking thing.
why? No, you would have been like, okay, yeah.
All
whatever,
right,
move
so we start this chapter traveling up the King's Road. They notice that there's a lot of traffic going the opposite direction, right? And
The
It's
mass
basic-
exodus, man.
yeah, all because of what?
War.
The war.
Yeah, just havoc going on. I can imagine it makes me kind of think of the Patriot when they're just kind of like in that house and there's a war going on out back. Do you guys know the scene I'm talking
I don't know
about
what
in
you're
the Patriot?
Isn't that when they first get like people to their house and start taking care of everyone?
I never saw it.
Like Heath Ledger. What? Oh my god. So Heath Ledger's character is basically the son. He runs away because he wants to get back to the war. The dad like catches up with him as like a dude runs out of his house. Like he couldn't get out of his house faster. And they go upstairs. They look out like a big great window and just see two armies fighting in his backyard. Like,
Yeah.
So, I mean, just imagine being in a house and like swords going off, and I don't even know.
Well,
like,
they say once they get to like far enough north, the only people that are there are people that have like stone walls, like people inside hold fast. Like everyone else is completely gone.
and they're holding up, right? They're not.
I don't know
letting
if you
anything
want to
in.
do the same because it places us, Nelson. I don't know if it matters or not, but like, I mean, being from like, I was real close to Mason-Dixon and all that. Like, I mean, all that shit. You can go see the bullet holes in houses and stuff around here.
Yeah, like the old
Like,
houses.
I mean,
from
we
the
have a
Civil
lot
War.
of
Yeah.
Civil War places around. Like I said, you don't have to leave.
We've said we're from Philly. We're said we're from like around Philly before.
Philly.
Cut out the stuff
represent.
where I said you can cut this out.
Mhm.
I will if I can.
So yeah, I mean, so it's definitely, you know, a lot of people are running south. They get
Everyone's
some.
like, why are you going to north?
Yeah.
You're fucking up.
Yeah, wrong way, homie. This shit's on fire
Yeah.
up there.
We get a couple of different commentaries of people like, you shouldn't be going this way because of
Yeah,
Nope.
you know, like
you're on
Fools,
fire. You're
they'll
heading
kill
to
you.
the
Yeah.
hornet's nest. Yeah.
yeah, the woman just goes off. The man like tells him that like, buy everything that they have for like a quarter price, right?
Yeah.
And it's like,
well,
well,
because it's going to get taken if you go up there. So it's selling it to me is better than getting it taken. Yeah.
Yep. There's like a to the point where like everyone's leaving. Even like a smith is leaving with like he's pushing an anvil potentially the whole way to King's Landing in a fucking wheelbarrow. Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like,
just thinking about how far he's got to travel and like, fuck this.
He's getting jacked on the way though.
Yeah, seriously.
Yep. So then I think they see some graves. Lamy sees the first grave. It's just like a little, or no, I don't know who sees it, but there's a little kid's grave, and Lamy wants to take like a crystal that they have put in the in the ground, and the bull tells him better leave the dead alone. And then like a few miles on, they see like a bunch of graves, and then after that, they pretty much are seeing graves all over the place.
So, and maybe this is a question you're going to ask me, but like, what are those graves from, I guess? Is it just dying on the road? I mean, you would think that more people would be dying closer to King's Landing, I think.
Wow. Yeah. If it's
further on the road.
Exactly. You know? I guess if it's people who like got wounds and then are deserting from the war, but I was thinking the same thing because like the very next thing they talk about after these bodies is how like Arya wakes up startled, right? And like,
what's his name's dead?
And then what? It's because whatever that guy's name, Praed. Parad is dead, right? So like. Prayed, I guess you're right.
I call him Prayed,
yeah. It doesn't matter. He's fucking
I read
dead.
it as Prayed.
So he was in one chapter.
He is dead.
So like, and they didn't really say what he died of. He was coughing. Is kind of what Arya said, right? So like,
it sounds like sickness.
Again, so like sickness, I guess maybe is why some of these people are dying. But again, what you said makes more sense. You'd expect more bodies further on the journey if it's like exhaustion or something. But I guess if it's like wounded soldiers deserting, then maybe they're not making it far.
I would think maybe too, like people are hungry, like just starving.
Maybe.
Well, that's why I think like maybe the kid
yeah.
died on the way, like the first grave they see. It's because a little kid can't handle that type of travel or something like that. They're not getting fed. But
the other thing is they could be getting cut down by like the Lannisters.
That's true.
Shit.
They did just say like go and just kill everyone.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess closer to that.
Even this chapter doesn't really like. I was looking at the map. Doesn't really like plot us. Here I'll share it real quick and I'll put it in the podcast.
Well, this is finally a different tavern, right? This isn't the.
It's not the
inn at the crossroads.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the tavern, and they don't really give us much more of a tavern. We just know they're in between. We just know they're in between King's Landing and, whatever.
We don't even know how far how long it's really.
Yeah, exactly. In between King's Landing and Harrenhal is like exactly. So I'll pull it up. You guys, I don't know what's next. I have to put my notes away, but you guys keep going.
All right. So when she sees the graves, it kind of brings her back to thinking of Sansa and Ned, just kind of like missing them.
She thinks of them when she's drinking beer, but that's like not till they're at the end.
Oh, okay.
You might be right.
So I didn't have any. No, you're right. I didn't have anything to that point. So they ended up. Sorry. Go ahead. Go.
No, you're good.
Or go ahead.
All right. They end up at the ivy covered inn, like Kyle was saying, and Yorn's basically telling everyone, "Hey, if you want to take a bath, clean your fucking dirty selves off. I'm going to get us some hot meals and some drinks." He gets everyone hot meals and drinks, beers, even the fucking people in the cage. And Arya, she doesn't want to take a shower because she feels bad killing all the fleas in the bath. And also she probably can't get naked in front of
I was exactly. Say, like, that's bullshit, Arya. Like, your dirty ass needs to get in the shower. It's because you literally don't have a penis and everyone thinks you're a boy is why you're not getting in the bathhouse.
Well, that's definitely the main part. All right, I got the map up, so we'll look at this quick.
But
there's not much.
Those are probably different bugs at this point, right? Like bugs don't live that long, right?
Yeah, I think it's partially a joke on Jordan's part, but who knows? Yeah, so this is where we're at. This is kind of everything. The one thing I did include on this, I didn't include because I basically just cropped a picture I'd taken previously to be smaller. But Dragonstone, because we were talking about where it is in one of the last chapters. See where the D is in the ocean on the far right? It's basically right to the right of that. So that's Driftmark, and then Dragonstone is right to the right, a little bit north of that, kind of parallel to Rook's, on the same latitude of Rook's Rest. So yeah, there's that, and then basically I have no idea where the rest. I'm assuming they're somewhere between Rosby and Antlers, is where this is right now.
Yeah, I mean, how do we even know?
Well, how long have they been on the road? 2 weeks.
Yeah, this is about 2 weeks after.
Do we know that, or did you just like Google that and someone?
That's what
I think
the timeline I've been following from online. That's what it says, and
2 weeks.
There's not really much else to go by. The comment's still there, so. But we said before comics can last like a month. And I'll leave this up real quick and we'll kind of jump ahead.
And the thing is still in the sky the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
We'll jump ahead real quick and talk about something that doesn't happen for a little later on because it has to do with the map. They talk about the wolves, like packs of wolves, and it's what kind of gets Arya pissed off.
by the God's Eye, right?
Exactly, that's by the God's Eye. So again, that's on the map. It's kind of right. That's right south of Harrenhal, and it's a kind of a ginormous lake, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
One you can't see across. Maybe you can.
What's on the Isle of Faces? Is it a bunch of weirwoods?
Yes, we've heard. Yeah, I can't tell you. I can't tell you more than what you know because I don't want to spoil you. But that's correct.
I mean, I didn't know that.
No, it's a good fucking
I'm sure
guess.
I think they've said stuff about that before, something along those lines.
We did talk about something like that, actually.
But yeah, so the inn at the crossroads, Lord Harroway's town, that's the inn. That's the other inn. So it's definitely not the one they're at. And the other thing while we're here is the Red Fork of the Trident. That is where Arya lost Nymeria. She thinks about that. So it's not super far from the God's Eye. It's not close, but it's not super far.
Yeah, I mean, a wolf. If a wolf is still alive, it's definitely gonna get there.
And I mean, Arya's also been gone for like a year since that happened. So
right, he could be anywhere the fuck he wants in a year.
Not outside the realm of possibility.
Yeah. But all right, so they get back into the deal. They're all getting drinks. Arya remembers Ned used to give him a cup of beer at dinner sometimes, or maybe just special occasions, and that's just when she thinks of Sansa and Arya. I made a note of it because I feel like Arya's kind of reflecting on her family a lot more than some other characters do.
Yeah, and she might write to Sansa as well. We kind of talked about that a lot throughout the chapter series. Who's forgetting who and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Before you get there, though,
Sansa's never thinking of anyone.
This Link dude remind me that I thought to think of him in the future.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up again. Yeah, that's cool.
That's the Black Brother, right?
Yeah, there's just like a little story. This is from the Innkeep. So the Innkeep buys everyone at least a round of beer a round of ale when they come in. And I don't know if they ever give the innkeeper a gender, but they say, I had a brother who took the black years ago, servant boy, clever, but one day he got seen filching pepper from a lord's table. He liked the taste of it, is all, just a pinch of pepper. But Sir Malcolm was a hard man. You get pepper on the wall? When Yorn shook his head, the man sighed, shame, Link loved that pepper. So that's all we get of him, but it does seem, I honestly don't remember if we see him at the wall or not, but we definitely see a lot of characters at the wall, and I haven't been taking notes like this.
Yeah. It's definitely a name I don't recall.
This was my one question for the spoiler section was, do we even see Link
If
again?
we do, I don't know. I didn't look it up, but if we do, I don't know.
It's a name that doesn't ring a bell to me, but why would you say it? They devoted a whole paragraph to
a character. They voted a whole bunch of... What's that guy who died earlier? Yeah.
And it's just like sympathy, like maybe some people care.
It does show that the lesser people... Yeah, it kind of shows that like the non-High Lords potentially do respect the Night's Watch. Maybe not all of them, right? People are trying to buy their shit for a quarter of the price and stuff, but some of the people respect it.
Well, they probably know a little bit more people that are up there than the High Lords, right? The High Lords are sending the rapers and like thieves and
it's like everyone knows someone who knows someone who who's been to the wall or whatever.
So this is when they start talking about kind of what's going on up north. Right?
Again, I think they start telling them like you can't go. They're kind of saying like you can't go north. The Lannisters and Tullys aren't letting anyone there. And Yorn's like Lannister Tully doesn't matter to us. Night's Watch takes no part in any of that.
Arya says the Tullys matter to me.
Yeah, she's thinking to herself, they do matter to me. That's my grandfather. I think this is also the first time that anyone that's not Catelyn, at least in my notes, if Hoster's been mentioned by anyone that's not Catelyn before, I didn't catch it. So this is the first time any of the children mention Hoster at all. And then the Innkeep starts saying a little bit more.
It's more than Lannister and Tully, the Innkeeper said. There's wild men down from the mountains of the moon. Try telling them you take no part. And the Starks are in it too. The young lords come down. The dead hand's son. Arya sat up straight, straining to hear. Did he mean Robb?
I heard the boy rides to battle on a wolf.
So the yellow-haired man with a tankard in his hand.
Fool's talk.
Yorn spat.
The man I heard it from, he saw it himself. A wolf big as a horse, he swore.
Swearing don't make it true, Hod, the innkeeper said. You keep swearing you'll pay what you owe me, and I've yet to see a copper.
Common room erupted with laughter, and the man with the yellow hair turned red. All right, that's good. So, I mean, I think the one thing's interesting here, or one thing maybe I don't know. I assume that Tyrion took all the mountain men with him, but maybe not.
Probably. No. I think he did, but I think that like them fighting has made it back. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I was wondering. If that's
he took.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I would say he took all the willing ones with him. I bet there probably is still like clans up there.
I'm gonna
I thought he
say
took, like,
not because he
150.
owed him a bunch.
They had like 300, but I don't remember if they already had reinforcements coming. I think they did, but I think Tyrion was with like 50 at first, and 300 more were coming. Not
Okay.
he was with 300 and 3,000 more was coming. Those were the two things I was confused in my head, and I'm not sure. But I can't imagine that they would. I mean, maybe they would be that all in if they got promised the veil.
I
but-
doubt it because, I mean, Tyrion promised it to him, so they kind of made it very like we're going where the little man goes
Yeah.
because he owes us the stuff, like
So-
not you.
Yeah, so
That's
again,
true.
I basically what this to me was, I was assuming that Tyrion had taken them all, and that this was like a thing where, hey, we're hearing a lot of stuff that we know is pretty accurate, but then we're hearing a lot of stuff that we know, or again, not a lot, but we're hearing some stuff that we know is potentially like
It's a
Not
lot of
quite
stretched
true.
truth for sure.
That's outdated, though, is all.
Exactly.
I think. I don't
Yeah.
think that's bad information yet.
that's true.
Just like
That's true.
riding on the wolf, like he obviously doesn't ride on the wolf, but the wolf rides with him. So it's like
yeah,
like the wolf is
Close
there
enough.
fighting and eating people in the middle of the battle. So it's not like completely untrue. Like there's a huge wolf riding with him. He's just not on top of it.
where
like
I was getting as we're about to get into some of those wolf stories, how much
Mhm.
credence can we put on those after we know that some of the previous comments aren't true, type thing?
I think it's the same sort of thing. Like how much do you look into a rumor in general?
I'm just
right?
saying, I think
It's-
that's part of why George throws those like potentially like slightly
Mhm.
off truth that we know is off truth, so that later when he gives us something that we don't know is a truth or not, it's hard for us to pick it apart and be like, what in here is right,
Yeah.
what in here is wrong.
I bet they'd eat a baby.
100% they need the baby.
if a baby's laying out there
In the middle of a market town with a bunch of people around, I don't know about that, but
Yeah, I don't know what that part, but
Yeah.
definitely eat a baby unattended.
all right. So are we skipping anything here? So someone goes on say that basically they say there's been a ton of wolves near the God's Eye. We talked about that earlier,
and
that
there's
it's
a big
big old
she. There's this
she-wolf,
big
man
she wolf
killer.
bitch, a bitch from the seventh hell.
And some, but they say that you can't even go in the woods at nighttime or it's just certain death pretty much right now. And again, I think it's the reason they're saying some of this stuff is because like you guys can't go north. You're
Mhm.
literally going through this like wolf country where these like actual wolves are just slaughtering everyone.
You know the one line that kind of confused me. It's been a bad year for wolves.
Yeah.
It hasn't been a bad year for the wolves. They've
No,
been
no,
fucking.
I think that means like it's been a bad year for mosquitoes.
For us, for
Okay,
the wolf, from
okay.
the wolves.
I was thinking like, oh yeah,
That's
the
a good way
wolves.
to put it there.
The wolves are dying left and right.
I thought that meant like, oh, the Starks are losing, right? It'd be like if the Eagles had a really bad year and like, oh, it's a bad year for the Eagles. That's how I took it at first too, which is I think what you're saying. But I think no, they're talking about the animals.
I took it more or less like, oh, wolves are dying because there's no.
I see what you're saying.
But I was
They're
like,
dying.
what the fuck's going on? Like, they're killing you guys. It's a great year for them. They're
Hey,
winning.
the Wolves are doing great this year,
There's a
man.
giant pack of them.
I think it's more like the mosquitoes thing that I said. Yeah.
Like they're everywhere and they're fucking everybody
Yeah,
up.
exactly. So this is when Arya wonders about the Nymeria thing. Kyle, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's got to be her. Where else would that come from?
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just wolves.
If it's right, if there is a female leading the pack and she's huge,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
then
From
it's
gotta
from
be
gotta be
hell,
Nymeria.
a wolf from hell. Do
But,
you remember what color
when just-
Nymeria was? Was she?
I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I know what she was in the show. I don't know if like the book ever.
yellow eyes that gleamed with that gleamed like gold coins when they caught the sun.
I could see some hellish eyes in there.
Probably
some
gray.
hellhound eyes.
Somehow Hound Eyes from the seventh hell.
well, then Arya questions like whether or not Nymeria would know her. But like, come on, I think she would.
I think she would too.
I mean, kind of from what we've know now from the Bran chapter, like there's like some like I don't know, the wolves are a little bit different, right? They listen
They're
a lot
smarter.
better than dogs, right? You know, from
Her second
They-
thought,
they
though,
were-
I think, is more potentially true, right? Even if she does
She'd
know
hate her.
me, she would hate me.
which, yeah,
Just because Arya was throwing rocks at her after, and she's like under
Maybe.
a year old.
I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, it's a toss
think,
up, but
I think this wolf was probably smart enough to know that
to
Arya
understand the
didn't
rocks
wanna
are out
throw
of
rocks
love.
at her.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how smart.
I'm giving this
how smart
wolf a
wolf-
shitload of credit right now.
You are, yeah.
It's like got like a 5th grade education.
I don't hate. I mean, just right. These wolves have been doing like some crazy ass shit so far. These books, but like, yeah.
But all right, so we get the story of the she bitch wolf going into the
Marley
town and
taking
stealing the baby, right? And then they sent a bunch of men and dogs to go find her at her lair, and none of the dogs survived.
The Lord and his sons, yeah, none of the dogs came back, and all the Lord and his sons. Again, it's a small Lord. I don't even have my notes. Didn't even add him to my notes.
Mm-hmm.
Mooten.
Lord Mooten.
Actually, I think
Lord
I will
Mooten.
need him in my notes. And now that we're actually saying it out loud, that sounds like something that might come up once or twice later. But
Yeah, that was on my head. But none of the dogs came back, and they barely escaped with their skin. So they got pretty fucked up. If it's, I mean, they would have scars, right? That's like the one thing that can be proven if we go to Lord Mooten's house.
yeah,
It's
like the dogs
you
not
guys
coming
got-
back and stuff like that. That's probably pretty provable.
But Arya is immediately pissed off, like blurts out, like, wolves don't eat babies.
Which I think tells you where she stands on it. Like she thinks this is Nymeria, right? Like if
For
she's
sure.
getting this upset
And-
with
Yeah.
it.
But I think this is kind of crazy that she held her tongue earlier
When
when
they're
they were talking about her family.
Mhm.
But here they're talking shit on her one wolf that I mean
I
guess
don't
she's
even
still
know if it
salty
needed
about
to
it.
be Nymeria either. I think like
Just in general, that's like
just in
disrespecting
general,
her
like
house,
wolves, like
'cause that's,
yeah,
her
we're
pride.
wolves
Yeah.
type shit. Like
Yeah, I get that too.
"Rawr." I don't know.
And no
but-
one said anything like super bad about her family except for Yoren said we don't care. Like maybe she could have been like I care, but like
Mhm.
I don't know.
She held that tongue.
No one was saying like oh the Starks suck. We want the Lannisters
But like,
to
if
win.
she says like, "Oh, Rob's down here," everyone would have been like, "How do you know?"
She thought
What?
that to
Like-
herself.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If she blurted that out, they're gonna pinpoint that. But if she blurts out, "Wolves don't eat babies," they're gonna be like, "This girl's just fucking weird," or "This kid
And
is
she's
just
still drawing attention to herself, and Yorn pretty much told her to shut the fuck up a
I
while
mean,
ago,
later
like-
she literally jumps out of a bush and says,
Yeah.
"You want me?" So I mean, like obviously we still got that little child. We got that little child in her, but
So
I don't think she's giving too much away about her identity here. I think Glow's
not
right.
not
I'm
at the
Glow on
moment.
this one.
Yeah,
The
I do too.
glow outburst doesn't give too much away about herself.
It's definitely like an eye racer though. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, shut up.
Yeah,
girl.
but an innkeep's not going to be like, oh, wait
Boy,
a minute.
little
You know
boy.
what? Wait a minute. Especially because everyone
Yeah.
probably still thinks that she's in King's Landing captive.
Or do they even know what the fuck
Yeah,
she looks
probably
like?
don't even
Again,
care.
like they're like, wait, who's Arya Stark?
Exactly, yeah,
yeah. Okay. So Yoren pretty much tells her like, go outside and make sure the horses were fed. And,
I think he
looked
like
after.
throws her outside partially, right?
Well, no, she
Yeah.
says it again. Like,
Shoves
she
her.
blurts out more.
She's like, they don't eat
She did-
babies, but that's while
Yeah,
he's throwing
it's
her
just
out,
second
right?
time. And then she says, yeah, and then they're like,
Stiff shove.
she's drunk, and they kick her out.
Yeah, exactly.
Or he's drunk. The boy's drunk.
Tells me to go check on the horses. She's like, fuck that. Well, she pretty much immediately gets heckled by...
She doesn't really say fuck that. She goes.
Yeah, she just immediately gets heckled. Right, as soon as she's
Yeah.
outside.
Well, this is when
heckled,
she gets
but-
called over. Boy,
jocking.
lovely boy.
Lovely boy.
Jockin's thirsty, man.
The way this guy
So-
speaks is sweet. I don't think I have any of his quotes, though. But yeah,
So this is when we
he's
meet,
Sounds
sweet.
like
uh,
a little perv though. Lovely boy.
Yeah. But he
I'm
just he
thirsty,
speaks like in
boy.
third person, right? He calls himself...
Or maybe he knows.
A man has a thirst.
He calls her boy, not
Boy.
girl.
Lovely boy, though.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's either a perv or he knows she's a chick.
I don't know.
So
I
we,
didn't think
we
either of
meet
those things.
we meet three new people here. I guess we knew about them, but we get introduced to them.
Yeah, so what they had mentioned earlier, I don't know if you guys said when I was getting a beer, when they get to this inn, Yoren had like they're like, oh,
You said
everyone
it.
gets baths, blah blah blah, baths. Everyone gets baths, everyone gets drink and stuff, but we're gonna sleep outside. And
Mhm.
Lami even gets some beer for the three in
You
this
said
thing.
that earlier.
Okay, and again, I'm gonna remind you guys that it's not like in the show. There's no cage. We talked about this in the first time. They're just kind of like shackled hands and foot. Like there must be like a center ring on a floorboard of like a truck bed type wagon thing. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay.
And there's no cage. They're just like shackled to the ground.
Spoiler
What do you mean?
to Kyle. He hasn't seen the second season.
We talked about this in the first Arya chapter.
I mean, what's it matter? Like, it's not a spoiler, though.
It's
Like,
not either. We talked about it just so like when he throws the cup, it makes sense.
I pictured him throwing it through the bars, so yeah, it does make way more sense.
Because I got confused too. I'm like, how are you throwing through the bars? How is he that close to Arya? Like, how is she afraid of them at all in the situation if it's like in the show?
Caged and in chains.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I was bringing it up.
Way
Yeah.
too small of a detail to care. This
Not
much
at all. It
about.
totally changes how much scary this is. She's walking up to people who are basically like not in a cage. What do you mean? Kyle, back me up.
Hardened criminals that were in the fucking in the
Chained-
dungeon
chained
to
at-
die.
At
The
hand
one
and
dude has
foot for
filed
2 weeks.
teeth.
Like
Well,
honestly,
pick a side.
We're
Well,
getting
pick a
ahead
side.
here, but this wagon is not the sturdiest of wagons.
Exactly. Glow, pick a side here. Me and Kyle or Jeff.
Kyle Nelson.
Thank you.
Sorry, Jeff.
Suck it, Jeff.
I'm not even arguing anything. Like now I'm going to argue. Like, what the fuck are you guys talking
Jeff
about?
lost.
Like,
You lost, Jeff. That's what a loser would
Jeff,
say.
you lost.
you guys are stupid.
So basically, they're asking for another round of beer, and basically she eyes up Jockin. She gets a description. We get a description of Jockin. I don't know if he has. I don't even have it in this. I have it in his note.
Red hair.
He's
on
a
one
very
side,
pretty
white hair on the
guy
other
with
side.
a Cruella de Vil haircut, but red instead of black.
Also, I saw the Cruella de Vil haircut when I was on vacation, or not the haircut, the live action movie with that what's that chick?
Emma Stone.
Banging, and actually not a bad movie. The soundtrack is off the charts. If you look up the soundtrack, that's not off the charts because there's a lot of songs that are in the movie that aren't in the soundtrack. Like if you go to Spotify, but the movie soundtrack, like from the actual movie, is killer. Okay, movie. 8 out of 10. Way better than I thought it'd be.
8 out of 10. That's
more than okay.
There's no way it's an 8 out of 10.
Watch it.
No way.
That's go out of your way to watch, and the only
I
reason
liked
you
it.
watched it is because you have a little sister.
I really liked it.
Moving on.
Exactly.
So Jockin Hagar is a pretty guy with red hair and red hair on one side, blonde on the other. We get this roared guy who's got no nose and just yells.
Hair everywhere.
Hair everywhere, black hair. And then
Looks
a
like
guy
an ape.
who only hisses with filed yellow teeth.
And
short
like
tongue.
no tongue. Did he get his tongue
he
cut
cut his
off?
tongue out.
He says he has a
Shortened
stump
tongue.
where the tongue should be.
Yeah, he's got his
How do you
tongue cut
hiss
out.
without a tongue?
I don't know. Yeah, like that, I guess.
Through your teeth.
Through your filed teeth.
I don't know.
I guess you don't need teeth to make like a cat hiss, I guess.
Well, he
I
has
was thinking
teeth.
more of a,
He has
I was thinking more of like
sharpened
a
teeth.
snake hiss, but
He has like
like-
sharpened teeth.
He's still got his stump.
you don't need a
Yeah,
tongue
stump
for
of a tongue. So basically,
Keep that all
Jackin
in
can
there.
see how Arya's looking at him because he's so dirty and he's been chained and he's nasty. And he's like, I could use a beer and I could also use a bath. You could make a friend. Obviously, he's not asking for a bath. He's just saying like, excuse my dirty. I think he's just trying to say like, excuse my dirtiness. That's when I think we actually the description Jeff just gave.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically,
Arya wouldn't get them drinks. Like they were like, just get us a drink, and she says no.
Well, Arya says I can make some friends. She says I already have friends. Rourke says not that I can see, and then Biter hisses, and she flinched, and that's what we see about the tongue. And then Jackin starts apologizing for his companions, and she thinks that he sounds kind of like Sirio. Again, I think we find out later that he's from Lorath, which is a free city. It's like an island, I think, but it's pretty much right north of Bravos.
It says Free City of Lorath
Yep.
in the description. I didn't know where that technically was, but the free cities, I figured they'd be close.
Yeah, it's pretty
each
close to
other.
Bravos. So he asks for forgiveness again and says, like, I think your name's Ari. And Rogue's like, no, her name's Lumpy Face and Lumpy Head and Stick Boy.
Mhm.
And Rogue's like, you better watch out or he's going to hit you with that stick. And Jockin's like, I'm so sorry. He like apologizes for him again. And then that's where we hear where he's from. He says a man must have a name, and since Biter can't talk and read or write, they call him Biter because his teeth are sharp, and when they call him that,
Well,
he like smiles.
It sounds like he must have gave him this nickname, right? Like he obviously can't tell him what his name is, but
exactly.
he
Like
hisses
either
and
him
has
or Rourke, yeah, the two of
fang
them probably
teeth.
figured it out.
Like, so.
Or just even everybody down in the cells when they were in jail together, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
That's what he says.
sure,
I
let's
can't.
just
You couldn't
call
choose my
him Biter.
companion in the black cells, which is interesting. Who else do we know is in the black cells?
Ned.
There's not really ever like any mention of that coincidence ever like brought up in the future, but people talk about it a lot that these three were in the same place as Ned.
I mean,
He
from
was
the
like in
yeah.
solitary in a fucking.
So like the blacks, I don't know
In
if they
the
talked about it
fever
yet, but like
dream.
the dungeons in King's Landing have three layers. Like
Yeah, we
one where
talked about
people go,
this.
then there's like tortures, and the black cells is the bad place. So
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like
I don't know
maximum.
how much. Yeah, I guess you're right. Like they were each in their own.
They can't
cell.
see shit.
Yeah,
Maybe they could like hear each other.
Yeah,
Or
they're
he
each in their
might
own
have
cell.
been
to
even
talk.
like a solitary section of the black
You're
cells
right. You're
too.
right.
You
Or
know,
just like those three were kept in one cell, and Ned was kept in a cell by himself, type thing.
So before we go too far though, like this also here shows that these guys are paying attention, like, and learning about, like they've seen what Arya's doing. They recognize, like,
Yeah.
They know her name.
they're
and-
watching. Yeah.
Well, they don't have much else to do, but yeah.
No, I know, but I mean, I think it's important that these guys are kind of learning about Arya. Like, I mean, obviously with her hidden identity, like that's another person that knows, I guess.
Yeah.
Or they might notice her doing something stupid later on, or that
Like
kind of stuff.
jumping out of a bush and saying, "You're here
Yeah.
for me," type thing. Yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
Jackin's like, hey, Ari, like are you charmed? And she's like, no. And she thinks to herself, like, they can't hurt me. They're all chained up. Which I guess is getting to the point where maybe she's not as safe. Maybe they could break out of, maybe, like, rip the chains out the board. But this is when Rourke throws his cup at her.
Yep.
And he's like, go get us a drink, you little pimple shit.
Yeah. She
And Arya is just like, no, I mean, she doesn't get hit.
Water dancer,
but she's just
sidestep.
like there for the fight. Yeah. She's like, you shut your
I'm
mouth.
fucking
Like, just yelling right back at him. Like, she's got balls on her, this girl.
Yeah.
She's a beast.
She does. She fucking does.
She thinks about like a lot of Sirio. Is this where she has like a lot of Sirio
Mm-hmm.
mannerisms ripped through her head? And then she gets her sword out and like starts getting closer to him.
It's just a wood sword, though, right?
Yeah, just the wooden one.
Yeah, it was a needle.
So what?
Think
She's
about
got
if it
two
was.
swords on her hip at each time?
She carries the wooden sword out.
She's been carrying them like that for a while.
Yeah, she has like at least in King's Landing, she had a cloak over her needle. Yeah, needle side. But yeah, she has like the stick play sword, and I'm not sure if it's like a stick. People call it a stick, but she always calls it like a play sword, which makes me wonder if it's the one that like her and Syria would practice with.
Wooden practice sword, it's called here.
Yeah,
So
'cause
it's
she
got
ran,
this
pretty
iron
sure
she
rod
ran
solid
with
in
that
the middle.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I get
That's
it.
what
but
she fucked up.
you would think
Mommy
if
with.
you had
Yep.
a normal sword, like, I mean, maybe you just don't want to kill people.
Yeah.
Like, but Biter jumps at her, right? Lunges.
when
hits
she's
his-
getting close. She's like, is close enough to touch the wheel.
and she smacks him right in the fucking face.
Yeah.
She doesn't even flinch.
Well, the thing is, too, is she's talking to Rourke beforehand, too. So, like, that's not even, like, she's not even, like, walking up, looking up. I mean, they're all fucking right next to each other, but she's not, like, that's not who her threat is. So, it's, like, quick reaction time for Arya. Yeah, gets him right between the eyes. And he gets pissed off and lunges at her more, and the hands get pretty close. And Arya, it doesn't say she flinches here. She just kind of stands there. And then he finally
I
falls
thought she was
back.
going to thwack his hands.
That's when it kind of sounded like the board was gonna break or something like that, and then he falls back and he's like gives up.
And so Jaqen says, a boy has more courage than sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And then this is when Arya edged backward away. And then we get a surprise visit from the bull.
The bull,
The bull.
Gendry.
Coming out the shower.
He's like,
Yeah.
yo, don't fucking hit me, bro.
Yep. I like how every time we see Gendry, they like mention like, oh, he's got dark hair and blue eye, like black hair and blue eyes.
Yeah.
Like they always mention his Baratheon features. So yeah, then they go. Arya's like, they don't scare me, and the bull's like, well, they fucking scare me. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, you're stupid.
And
Like, let's go.
And they leave, and Arya's like, I'm gonna fuck something up. You're it. Let's go. Pull your sword out.
It's so weird. I mean, like, let's fight.
Also,
Like-
she has a play sword. They can't go get Gendry a stick. Like, oh, I have a sword. I have a stick sword. You don't. Time to use real steel. Like, what are we talking about back here? Somebody's gonna slaughter somebody behind the inn.
I mean, I think the bull, like, we know the bull's a little bit older, right? Do we know his actual age? Is he like 18 or
dude, everyone
so?
always just talks about how
He's
ripped
like
this dude
16.
is. He's like 6'5". He's like me, dude. He doesn't stand a chance. Be like me versus my sister in a sword fight.
Dude, he is hey, I know he's not going to keep this in. He is not like Nelson at all. So I know it's not going to make it, but
Nelson at
I'll leave it
16 was jacked, right?
don't think of Nelson.
Yeah, when I was
as
younger and
anything.
when I was in high school.
No.
Before the
There's no
college
way.
football coaches fattened me up.
No. I literally knew you as you came in from your high school, and you were not jacked.
I was strong and lean though.
Okay, so they do start fighting, which I think is absurd.
Well, no, they don't. They like
Well,
they're
they're
about
about
to.
ready to.
Yeah.
And it's just that's absurd to me.
They literally pull up their swords. And I'm like, dude, what? I thought the same thing as you, Jeff.
or even disses Gendry's sword. She like rips on it. She's like, that's fucking
Yeah.
cheap shit.
Well, that's fake steel. I got real steel.
Yeah.
Which is again, we're talking about her kind of. He was already probably like, oh, how'd you get this real steel? Like, who'd you steal this from? And now she's just like, oh, like, I don't know.
Yeah, Gendry's got to be super sus of Arya.
Yeah.
I mean, especially at the end of the chapter, but like even at the end of the chapter, he doesn't know who she is, right? But he's still got to be super sus.
And I think this is just because we have outside information about Gendry already, but I don't think he cares.
He doesn't seem to give a fuck about much. Yeah, as long as he's got food, like, he's like the guy that Jorah was telling Dany about. Like, as long as he's got food over his head, or fucking roof over his head, and food in his belly, he's a happy camper. You know
And
what
I
mean?
don't think Gendry knows who he is yet either. So I think
Exactly.
once
She's
he's
like,
out-
"Who's your name?" And she's like, "Who's your name?" And he's like, "Gendry."
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
they're about to fight. Gendry sees the gold cloak, 6 gold cloaks riding up. I think 6 is the right number.
Yep.
It's 5 or 6. Yeah, 6.
And Arya's like immediately scared, thinks they're coming after her, and they go and hide behind a bush, like around the back or around the side.
She tells him to be quiet as a shadow.
Whispers it to him too.
Yeah, she says quiet as a shadow as they're hiding behind the bushes, and Yorn walks out and starts talking to the Gold Cloaks. The Gold Cloaks basically hold out a ribbon saying, hey, we're looking for a boy that you took from
King's Landing.
And the guy's like, well, Yorn says, well, fuck that. I don't care. We're taking him up. And he's like, well, the queen is saying that we need to take it.
Yeah.
And Yorn just is
pulls the watch card.
Everything.
Pulls the watch card. He's part of the watch now. Like, doesn't matter what the queen wants.
Part of the watch.
There's laws that say, like, once you're in the watch, you're in the watch. Like, yeah, there's laws against this. And the officer pulls out his sword and he's like, here's your law.
Yeah.
And Yorn's like, that's not a law. This is a law. And pulls out a bigger sword. No, I'm just kidding. That's a crocodile.
That's not a law. That's a sword.
It's kind of funny to me. Well, because the Gold Cloak says like, well, I got 5 other men. Like, you lost. You're going to lose. And when he pulls out his sword. And Yorn's like, well, I got 30.
Yeah.
And it really surprised me how these guys who were just recruited, just new recruits, drop their shit, pick up anything that they can find, pitchforks, daggers, a walking stick,
including
a rock,
stones.
hot pie.
So that is also their captors, their previous captors.
Yeah, I'll say yeah.
But
I'm not discounting what you said. You're right, but I think they might have other motivations as well.
What makes I think to Jeff's point, what makes it even more weird is one of the guys who
the last
guy who jumps up and says, "All of us are going to fight you." Glow skips over when the Gold Cloaks ride up. They're like, "Are you guys the Watch?" And the one guy's like, "Yeah, but we hear it's cold up there. We'd rather be part of you."
We'd rather be with you.
He's joining in to fight him 3 minutes later. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I guess just like that camaraderie thing. Like once that first guy goes, right, it's a lot easier for everyone else type thing.
I love the one dude that fucking drops his towel and is just like, "Hey, I'm ready to fight you bare naked."
I mean, he probably didn't even have a towel. Like
that guy's like, "Oh, is there a fight going on?" That guy just says,
"Is there a fight?" He's
probably just naked anyway. Right?
He just drops it. It says he drops everything but his dagger and asks if there's a fight going on. And Hot Pie's like, "Guess so." As he's like trying to get a rock up. Yeah,
a rock. Like, shut up, Hot Pie, you little fat fuck. Like, go behind the bush with Arya. But I mean, I give him credit. He got up, and so what happens that the guy loses his?
Arya
pops out. Because when she sees Hot Pie, she's like, "I hate this guy. Why is he standing up for me?"
Yeah, he's gonna try and like protect me, or So she pops out of the bush, which immediately and she yells.
Hold on, real quick, Kyle. I had assumed you saw this as part of the show. If you didn't see this when you were reading this, did you think they were there for Arya? Like up until she jumps out? I guess it's probably hard to tell, but
yes,
that's cool. That's dope.
But one indicator should have been we're here for a boy. It would have been a girl that they're looking for.
However, she's been a boy for how long?
Yeah, but the Gold Cloaks know differently.
What's that?
The Gold Cloaks don't know her as like in hiding as a boy.
What's also weird is like when she jumps out and says, "You're here for me," she yells at them about calling her. They call her a girl. So when she jumps out, they call her a girl. They're like, "Shut up, girl."
However,
put that sword down. She's like, "I'm
they
not
just
a girl."
called everybody else girls as well.
I guess that's true.
The sentence before, he said, "None of you girls knows which end of the sword to hold."
That's true. That's
a
good
point.
You girls put
on
away
that.
them rocks and sticks before you get spanked.
Because what I was confused
I didn't pick
by
up on that, but
if she thinks that they're after her, then okay, I think she's a girl. So she says they're a girl, and what's her very next line? She says two things.
I'm not a girl.
And then in the same breath,
I'm the one you want.
Exactly. So like if she's the one they want, then they know she's a girl. Like you don't say I'm not a girl. Like that those two things don't seem like they have to go together. You either say I'm not a girl and shut the fuck up about who you are, or you say I'm the one you want when they call you a girl type thing. I don't know. I thought that was weird.
She's also 8 or 6 or whatever.
Maybe 9.
But yeah, so that's what happens. She jumps out and says, what we just said is what happened. She jumps out and says that, and the guy points with his sword at Gendry and says, "No."
That's the one we want.
And how? Just based off of
descriptions,
I guess. Black
but
hair,
that's
blue eyes.
when the dude made a mistake.
You're telling me there's not another black-haired, blue-eyed guy in this group?
6'5",
someone from the dungeons
jacked.
or Orphan Boy, right?
That's what I was gonna say. And he was jacked and tall and probably pretty standouty.
Like the only one that looked like they could be a recruit for an army or something.
But that's where the
sure. I get it. I don't want to fight it too much. Like I feel like he's got a pretty distinct. Like if you're a young jack kid.
But Jeff, that's what. So the guard points his sword towards Gendry.
Yeah. And this is when
he
you
fucks
are
up and Yorn's like, no,
exactly.
cooler Probably dope here to visualize too.
I really
scene
like
in
the scene in the
is
show,
really-
too,
The scene in
yeah.
the show is really good.
It's similar.
That's all I'll
yeah.
give you, Kyle.
I mean, Kyle said he's not going to watch it, but basically, like they don't get on. This is very similar. They just don't get off their horse, and they never draw any swords. They just say, "No, we want him." Or no, that's it. Might even
They
be,
don't
it's
even.
like out of
no,
order.
they don't even
the
know.
whole thing's out
they
of
don't
order.
even know. Yeah.
But yeah, like at one point, Jorn just puts his like dagger to the guy's inner thigh, and he's like, "I can
Like,
nick
right by
this."
his-
He's like, "I can nick this." And the guy like grabs a sword, and he's like, "Knives are quicker than swords, and if I nick this vein in your leg, there's no one around here to unnick it." And that's basically
I thought he was
it.
talking about his dick.
No, he's talking about the vein. I think he's talking about the vein in your thigh.
Femoral artery.
Yeah, the femoral artery.
Yeah, I mean that makes more
Yeah.
sense of killing, but I thought I truly
He's gonna
thought he
cut
was.
your dick off.
It's like right at his dick.
He says, "I'm
I
gonna
didn't
nick
see
it
it,
and
so-
unnick it." But yeah, it's the same thing. He basically says like, "I got the jump on you. I was quicker or whatever."
Yeah, I mean the guy's gonna want his dick too.
For sure.
Sure.
But yeah, so basically Jorn just pull in this one. So in this one, that also doesn't make sense. They're all so we talk about 6v30, but the gold cloaks are mounted, like could be mounted. They all get off their horses a little bit early. They are already all off their horses, but they could be mounted here.
Yeah, but they were walking into the inn. Like I don't think they were prepared for a fight. I don't
No,
think
they're
they
like at their. The way I saw it was they were like they like met at the gold cloak's horse. At least it seemed that's the way it seemed to me. I guess maybe they're maybe not really, but once they start threatening each other, gold cloaks should be on their horses. That's isn't that a huge
It's
advantage?
a huge advantage, yeah.
to be mounted
Yeah, especially against
Until
like
you-
people without
until
real
Hot
weapons.
until Hot Pie's just throwing rocks at you.
Against on a horse that's
long
way
distance
less dangerous.
weapon, right?
It's like not what you're thinking when like you got off your horse, you're walking away, you're talking to these people, you're not going to just like hop on your horse all of a sudden
guess.
and be like, now we're going to yell at you from up here.
Wait, can you guys hold on 10 seconds? I need to hop on my horse.
Yeah.
Like even right now, like once Jorn has his blade to his throat, the rest of them could have been. That's what I was thinking. But they could be getting on their horse, or even after he smacks their ass. Like now it's 5v30, but again mounted with armor against a bunch of fucking dirt rats.
Yeah, okay, but they're on their horse. Just go inside and make them come inside.
Yeah,
and fight you.
yeah, I guess.
Like it's not.
I don't know. I was just overthinking it. We can move on.
They
Yes,
hold
you
out
are.
some hay and the horse isn't interested anymore.
Jorn
I got a sugar cube.
Jorn says neither one of you. Jorn says neither one of you get.
You're not taking either of them right
He
now.
says neither's the one you get unless you want me to see if your apple's ripe yet. I got 10, 15 more brothers in that inn. If he's not convincing, I was you. I'd lose that gut cutter, spread my cheeks over that fat little horse, and gallop on back to the city. And this is when he drops the sword. They do mount up, and the officer's like, when we come back, we'll come back not for the bastard boy, but for you too. And then
And I figure I'll take your head and put it back on a spike.
and Jorn's like, you're welcome to it or whatever.
If you can take it, you're welcome to.
Then he smacks the horse. The horse they ride off. Once they're gone, Hot Pie starts hooting and hollering.
Yeah, and Jorn's pissed.
Jorn turns on him. Yeah.
This is like the soldiers that win the first battle and they don't realize that a second battle's right around the corner.
Yeah.
And the general just turns around mad as shit. Like,
So what I'm wondering is what do the gold cloaks do right now? Do they like go to the closest lord and be like reinforcements?
Send
Like
a-
there's no
send
way
a
they're going
raven.
back to the city, right? Like so they're 2 weeks ride, but that's not 2 weeks for it's probably half that tops for the gold cloaks.
they said they rode it in like a day.
Yeah, they said the horses were like fucking tired.
And
Yeah, horses were
lathered
tired.
up. Yeah, like,
exactly. Sweaty. We
Horses
talked about that
do
in
sweat.
the last John chapter. Apparently
Yeah,
horses
who
sweat.
knew?
Horses are
But
super
like
sweaty.
I'm thinking it has to be at least 3 or 4 days, right? If it takes 2 weeks with wagons, like people riding hard can make it like it can't be a day.
I think 3
If
or 4
you're
days
not-
sounds right.
I would say it's definitely not a day, but they're not pulling anything, right? They just have the rider, so I don't even know. I don't know the distance. I don't know
you're
how
right
far.
there, Nelson. They can't go all the way back because by the time they went all the way back and then came back again, it would be.
If it's
they'd
3
be
days,
further
that's
up.
6 plus. Say, yeah, exactly. Say they make it 3 more days. That's 9 days. They could have maybe. I don't know. I guess that's doable. If you have 9 days,
Even if it takes 2 days for them to get back or 3 days, and then 8 days, we'll say, to catch back up. The 30 people with wagons and all a bunch of shit that they're carrying is going to move a lot slower than.
Yes.
yeah,
Like-
exactly. And they know where they're at now, so it's not like they really have that many choices of where to go. Like you could go off the.
They know
King's
where they're
Road.
going, but they know where they're going
Exactly,
too.
and it's not even like you have like you're saying you have 2 miles back to the city, then 8 miles to go. It's not even like of 8 miles of like, oh, where do we go? You know the first 6, so you don't have to figure out where they went for the last 2 type thing. So yeah, like I just don't know. I don't know if they're going the whole way back or they're going to like the Lord and being like, look, the Queen
Send
wanted
a
this, give
raven.
us people type thing.
Or even just like I said, setting up an ambush up ahead or something like
Looping around.
Because he said next time they're coming back, they're not going to hand me a damn ribbon. Like they're going to come to fight next time. So either like you said, they'll have reinforcements, or B, they'll be more prepared to fuck us up.
So this is a setup. What do you think's happening? This was a setup into prediction.
Oh, I mean, I think what the Gold Cloaks don't know is that they got reinforcements in the woods up ahead.
In the wolves?
The she bitch.
Oh, the wolves. Okay.
The hell bitch, rather.
Okay.
The she bitch from Seventh Hell.
So yeah.
Well, they call her the hell bitch later too.
Yeah. So when Yorn turns on Hot Pie, he basically says what we just said. Something's gonna come. Something's coming back. And he gives away the sword. Hot Pie gets it.
Hot Pie wants it.
Hot Pie wants it. Yeah.
Don't be using it on air.
I feel like you have grown men that literally just walked out of a fight with a walking stick. Like, you're not going to give it to the grown man. You're going to give it to this little fat boy.
It's an old man, though.
Yeah, old man.
Okay,
but you're right,
still. Like, the guy had a pitchfork.
There's probably other people that could use this better than Hot Pie for sure. But Yorn says something funny. He's like, next time they're not going to ride up and give us some ribbon. Like, I think that's a funny way of putting what we just said in a lot of words. And then basically Yorn comes up to Gendry and Arya and is like, the boy wants you bad, talking to Gendry. And then Arya's like, why does she want you? And Gendry's like, why does she want you? Arya starts thinking like, maybe he's only pretending to be a bastard boy, just like I'm pretending to be an orphan boy.
A boy, yeah.
And she asks him in Dane, and that's when he says Gendry. Yorn says he doesn't know why anyone wants either of them. But then
is just, do you think Yorn knows about Gendry?
Yes.
Oh, right. Someone like pulled him aside and was like, hey.
What he told Arya was that, someone just gave him money and Gendry and not really much of an explanation, but we don't know if that's true or not. He wouldn't tell Arya if he knew. But what's weird is he proved that Arya's important by putting her on a fancy horse. Basically tells them, you two ride fancy horses from here on out in case they show up again. You two can take off while we stay and fight, or maybe we can be like, oh, we don't have you anymore type thing. So that's the plan. Then Arya's like, yeah, but they care about you now. They want your head. And he's like, yeah, they can have it if they can get off my shoulders. And that's kind of where it ends. Longer than I thought for recording wise.
Yorn's pretty sweet, huh? He's kind of like, I'm going to say, good Bronn in a sense.
Good Bronn.
Bronn's not bad, but yeah, he's cool. Yeah.
I mean, Bronn's on the wrong side currently.
It's like a Han Solo character, kind of. What is it?
I guess, yeah.
A rogue.
Hot shot.
A rogue.
Yeah, but he's a good rogue. He's a part of the Black
he's
Brothers.
just like a man of the watch, you know?
Yeah, he's a good dude. What I was thinking is like, how did he originally get into the watch? Because if he was really just in a dungeon, like what's stopping him from just like taking off his black coat and putting on a blue one when he's in a city sometime and just like being like, fuck this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And he must really enjoy it. I mean, if you're going to have a Night's Watch job and you can be the guy who can ride down to the city, and he obviously probably drinks and pours and does whatever he wants for months. Like
he has the good job out of fucking all the Night's Watchmen.
Yeah. Oh, you're not on the wall freezing your ass off.
Yeah, you're not
standing
at the,
at the top.
First of all, yeah.
Yeah. So whatever he did, he's probably been there a long time.
He's trusted and
probably loves it too. Like he probably does love the watch.
So I think we asked Kyle a lot of the predictions as we were going. I don't have anything for Kyle now. Do you guys have any questions for Kyle?
A lot of the predictions. There's only one, but that was really, I think, about it.
We asked it earlier. Why not up top?
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They're going north. People are at their back.
They're being hunted from behind. Yeah.
All right. So we said what we think's gonna happen. There's gonna be some wolves coming to the rescue potentially. All right. We'll see Kyle in the next one.
I mean that's. It's not a crazy prediction because they talk about both of those things in this chapter, but that's what I'm putting together.
It's a little bit out there.
So we'll see.
I like it.
Next John chapter, first chapter of Clash of Kings.
Let's go.
Where'd we leave off with John?
Oh, Johnny boy. They're going north above the wall to find out what
John,
the fuck's
are you gonna
going
leave, bro?
Good John
Because
chapter.
we're going north. You got to be there with me, bro. That's what happened last chapter.
Exactly. It's exactly what Mormont told
bro.
him.
That's probably how he sounds too. You need to do him in all those chapters.
Yeah, Glow's new Mormont voice.
Yeah.
Bald like him.
All right. We'll see you in the next one, Kyle. Bye, guys. See everyone else
See
in
you
the spoiler
guys.
section.
Bye, Kyle.
Later, nerds.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! See you later, gals. Great hanging out, bud. We'll see you on the next episode for John 1. But now, on to the spoiler section for Arya 2 of Clash of Kings.
Spoiler section.
Boys, what are your hot takes for this sode? How about you, Jeffrey?
I ain't got shit.
I too do not have shit.
Is it Nymeria? We don't know.
Yeah, but it's most likely Nymeria. I don't think we ever.
You know
get
what I was kind of
confirmation.
mad about was that the show left it no mention of her until we saw Nymeria, and the book basically tells you it's Nymeria.
Yeah, like the whole time. It's like, yeah,
I didn't care for
Nymeria
that.
and her friends are all killing people right now.
Nels, any thoughts on that?
I mean, there's nothing. The show just completely takes all the Nymeria stuff out of it completely. There's nothing from Nymeria in the show. There's that.
I mean,
one scene.
I know Nymeria runs
it's the
around
only
a
scene.
little bit, right? We hear more about her through more than this chapter.
Yeah,
no?
we hear about her like a
Yeah,
ton
yeah.
in Feast of Crows and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
like the
And
pack of
Arya
wolves
has
is like a huge
dreams.
thing for Arya starts having wolf dreams. Yeah, Nymeria's big in the books. I had Nymeria as one of. I don't really have anything either. I had Nymeria as one of my points to just as like something to talk about.
Yeah.
To not have a 0 minutes post section, but this probably be less than 10 minutes. All I had was Nymeria and Gendry.
Yeah.
The one thing I did want to ask you guys that wasn't about Link, if Rorg and Biter made it to fucking the Night's Watch, I feel like they would just both get killed right away. Like, they're not going to listen.
That's what I was wondering. Is like, how do people like that? Like, how does it get handled at the Night's Watch? Kind of going off what we were saying about the Yorn conversation with Kyle at the end. Like, if he came in as a criminal, he would have had to be there for like 35 years, right, to develop that amount of trust to be like.
I'm
go
saying
out.
he came in as like a criminal kid, right? Like, oh, he raped a girl. He raped my daughter. Send him up there.
He stole Pepper.
It's a thing where it's like half between like, you've been here so long that we trust you, but also like you've been here so long you have nothing else, and you're like
Right.
you have it not great here. Obviously you're at the fucking wall, but like we're about to give you a job where you're gonna have it pretty good. And yeah, you can try and run, but you might die, or you can just travel the world for the fucking rest of your life, right? So it's not a bad
Right.
gig if you're Yorn.
He's got the best gig of the Night's Watch.
They do sleep
Yeah,
in
he does.
hedges and shit. They don't sleep in inns. Like he tells Tyrion that like I travel not well, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
For the most
Yeah.
part. But yeah, he has it better than a lot of people in the Night's Watch. I mean, but they have beds and I mean, I guess it depends on what you like.
I mean, until you make friends with Tyrion Lannister, and then he puts you up in the inn as you travel south with him.
Yeah.
But like, I'm sure he does that. Maybe he tries to do that as much as he can. But I think Yorn's pretty cool. I think it's cool that he ends up sacrificing himself.
Yeah, for sure.
But he would have been a cool character, like to continue to like
Yeah.
see him up
Yeah.
at the wall with John later on.
I think part of the reason we're gonna have a short spoiler section is because a lot of the stuff that is like spoilery in this is probably just we don't know the answer to either, right? Nymeria, Arya hasn't come back, so we don't know what's gonna happen with
Yeah.
Nymeria. Like she's just starting to get like some of those warg abilities like pretty good.
Yeah.
And then Gendry, again, very similar boat. Like Gendry is like with the Brotherhood Without Banners again, I think, right? Like he was with Brienne when Brienne. So Gendry is with Brienne.
Yeah, I don't
Brienne
remember
gets
Gendry's storyline.
So I don't remember this at all. I totally forgot this. And Gendry, I don't think Gendry says anything about it that I can remember. But Brienne gets attacked by Rorg and Biter, right?
Right.
Gets her
right.
neck
And
bit,
and
right?
takes her to
Gets her
Lady
cheek bit
Stoneheart, right?
Exactly. Gendry, before that fight happens, Brienne shows up in an inn. There's a little girl running it named Willow that she thinks might be Arya. There's a ton of like orphan kids in there, and Gendry's working at the forge out back. So Gendry and Willow run this thing.
Right. Gendry's like the yeah. Okay,
And
I
she's
remember
like,
now.
holy fuck, it's Renly. She like thinks for sure this kid is Renly. But it's then like, oh fuck, no, it's
Interesting.
this other kid. And so what I didn't think about this till just now, talking about it. Gendry knows Rorg and Biter. So he watched
Yes.
Brienne fight two people that he traveled with for a decent amount of time.
Brienne kills both of them.
Yeah. Biter fucks him up.
Yeah. Biter, like, yeah.
Wait, she fights them in front of people? I thought she fought them.
She's like talking to Gendry, and then the riders ride up. Willow comes out with like a crossbow or something. But they have like a lot of people. And Brienne's like, I'm fucked. There's no way I'm going to win this fight.
Why didn't Gendry fight with her? Because they swore not to? Because of the
Well,
children?
No, I think what Brienne's saying is like, we have a girl with a crossbow, this guy at the forge who I don't know if he even has a weapon on him at the time, and
Right.
then me versus like there's like 20 of them. I think she even thinks to herself, the only chance we have is if I can somehow provoke like single combat, like make fun of, and she like makes fun of Rorg or something like that. And then Rourke attacks her. She kills Rourke. Biter attacks her, pins her down, bites her cheek off. And I think she ends up stabbing him in the gut and just like twisting the knife until he dies or something like that. And then right as that's happening, I think Lemon Cloak and all the Brotherhood without banners ride up and scare off whoever else was there or whatever. I'm not 100% sure
So
if that's exactly how it goes.
Rourke and
it's
Biter
close to
are the men for the mountain, right? Or Lannisters?
kind of. I think they're. I don't know if they're for the mountain
Or are they just
directly, or
fucking
they're just like, yeah, they're like, hey,
savages
we're
out
free.
and about?
Exactly. Yeah, we do whatever the fuck we want.
Let's go kill
I
people.
think they are either tied to the mountain of Vargo Hoat, though. So yeah, I think you're right.
So
Fargo
I kind of want to
makes
talk
sense.
about this, Nelson, just because you believe Jaqen H'ghar is in Old Town, right?
He is an old town.
But he's not. Like, is he Jaqen H'ghar, the Waif, the Slender Man? Is he all of them?
No.
No, he's
I don't
just
think so. I think in the books he's definitely not in Bravos at all when Arya's in Bravos. That's the kindly man and the waif. But
I said
what's
Slender
weird
Man.
about Gendry is not Gendry. What's weird about Jaqen H'ghar, I think, and I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think I've read Reddit theories. A lot of the stuff that he does like doesn't 100% align with what Arya is being taught. Right? You basically like the that we know of, the faceless men are like, you go kill somebody, come back. And you just repeat. That's what we do. We just go kill somebody, come back. Jaqen is not doing that. Like he went.
Do you think he's a rogue?
So people don't know. Yeah, maybe he's a rogue, kind of like Arya potentially will become a rogue, where he has those abilities and is doing his own thing. Or he's like so high ranking or like so good at being a faceless man that they're sending him on missions, not because someone paid them to do it, but because it's fulfilling the faceless men agenda.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people think the faceless men hate the Valyrians because of the story they tell Arya, where like the first faceless man came from, who knows, Glow? I think this is
Valyria.
Nance. Okay, let's hear the backstory.
Well, I mean, so it started off that there were slaves, and the one slave was asking for death. And that's when one of the faceless men gave him the gift of death.
Exactly.
And eventually the
remember that
slaves were like, hey, can you actually just kill our captors? And that's what the faceless men started doing.
The first part of what you said was right. One of the slaves was begging for death, and then the first faceless man rose up and killed the slaves. Some of the slaves who were begging for death, and Arya tells the kindly man, like, that's not right. He should have killed the masters. And we don't really ever hear exactly what happened, but he's like, he said it some cryptic way, like mercy came to them in time or something, like some weird faceless men shit, right?
Yeah.
Which how do all those Valyrians die for the 14 flames?
Doom.
So like, is he people think that he's implying that the faceless men had something to do with the doom of Valyria, the end of the dragons, right? So now there's new dragons. Jaqen H'ghar shows up, and I think he's trying to do something in the Citadel. We don't know what. I think the biggest theory is he's after a really rare book about dragons in the Citadel. So people think that he might just be like one of their chief experts fulfilling a faceless men.
So I bring that
goal,
up just
not a
because,
rogue.
like,
But yeah, the rogue's a good.
the only
a good point.
person, well, I do think if he is off and about, he might be rogue. Why is he rogue? That's another question. Was he actually captured? Does he?
The hint towards rogue is I think you're right. He might say even in the books, he might say stuff about like the Red God, which isn't really something like, again, we hear the many-faced God, but again, maybe he's playing the role of Jaqen H'ghar, right? Like once he's in that character,
He brings up
and you believe
in the show, he brings up the Red God when Arya gets 3 deaths, I'm pretty sure.
But what I'm saying, right, is when Arya is in Bravos and she's pretending to be the Oyster Girl, say the Oyster Girl believes in the faith of the Seven. While Arya's like, if Arya's talking to someone on the street, she's going to be preaching the faith of the Seven. She's not going to be preaching the many-faced God because she's in character, and Jaqen's in character. So I don't think the Red God thing is a good argument. But yeah,
it's just like confusing to me because the show makes it feel like Jaqen is everyone.
Yeah,
right.
Again,
he like pulls off his face. He's the waif. He's the kindly man. I guess is the black guy in the show.
Yeah,
pulls off his face. It's actually it's Jaqen H'ghar.
Yeah,
like. Is the faceless man just a bunch of assassins that get paid, and they're like, or are they a part of this extra magic bullshit?
I think you're just like it's just one of the major differences in the books for show is the Jaqen H'ghar has nothing to do with Arya's storyline in Bravos. And I think the show's just fucking up with it. Like, I don't know why the show did it to make things simpler or whatever, because they didn't. I don't know why. Like,
just do a face that they know.
just to be like another like subvert your expectations type thing, and because they dropped the whole old town storyline, like there's no reason not to make
Just Jack and the
Jack
kindly
and be
man.
the one in Bravos because he's not anywhere else. But in the books, he is somewhere else. So yeah, I think you just
Yeah,
gotta.
I
Like,
mean,
just treat
well,
them
I'm
as two
just
different characters.
well, I want to see what else comes of.
Dude, I think the
Of
whole
Jack
Jackin
and
thing
story.
is one of the most interesting things ever. Like,
Yeah.
where is he right now?
He's in Old Town.
He's with
me
the guy
more,
with the
Glo.
glass candle.
Okay, give me
He's
more.
with
Glow, give me
Marwyn,
more.
I forget the character's name.
Pate.
Oh, okay, yeah,
He
he's
killed
Pate.
him.
So let's talk about it. What happened?
Took his face. He's the I don't know. He bought a whore, didn't he?
Jeff's on to something. I'm gonna
Well,
let you
no.
guys work this one out. Let's see.
I mean, come on. It's been years since I read this.
I was relying on Glow. I guess it's his feast.
Yeah, but I don't even know. Like, what do you want? He's
So I
trying
think
to
the
invest-
prologue-
He's trying to steal bulk, like you're saying. He's Pate. He's hanging out with Sam and Marwyn.
The prologue of Feast, which is where I think we see Pate, and the epilogue of Dance.
Oh,
which
doesn't he
is where-
save Sam? Was that him that saves him, or is that Arya
Kind
that
of. So
saves him?
you're on something too. So I think the prologue of the Feast and the epilogue of Dance is where we get it. Yeah. So I think the prologue of Feast we see is it through the perspective of a character named Pate, who's training to be a maester, but he's kind of stupid and he sucks at it. In that same chapter, we're just kind of rambling because we have nothing else to talk about in the spoiler section, so we won't go on too much longer. But in that same chapter, Pate is studying there with a few other people. One of those is Alaris.
Okay.
Do you guys know anything about Alaris from the Citadel? They call him the Sphinx.
I don't remember anything.
Alaris spelled backward is Solara, and Solara Sand is one of the sand snakes, and we hear that Solara is studying at the Citadel. So most people
Okay.
think that Alara is just Solara. So Pate doesn't really matter. Pate is studying with one of Oberyn's daughters at the Citadel.
Okay.
They're friends. They're chilling. There's this maid, this like barmaid who has a hot daughter that Pate really wants to fuck. The barmaid
And she's a
is
virgin.
broke, and she's a virgin. Barmaid's broke and says like, whoever gives me a golden dragon can fuck my daughter.
Which is crazy.
Which is crazy. So Pate's like,
Which
fuck
is
yes, this
crazy.
is what I've been waiting for. I've never had a shot like this in my lifetime. I need a golden dragon. And this alchemist comes up to him.
And he like loves her, right? Like I don't think he just like wants to bang her. Like he actually like cares for her.
Yeah, he really
No?
likes her and he doesn't want anyone else to. I think it's more about probably not wanting anybody else to bang
Yeah.
her type thing. So this alchemist tells him, like, if you can get me a key to I think it's a library or to maester somebody's chambers, a key to the Citadel, and the next day I'll give you a gold dragon. And Pate's like, fuck yeah, easy money. Because he's like, I'm probably going to flunk out of this place anyway in the next year or two. So if they kick me out, what's the big deal? And I'll get to fuck this chick and we can just maybe like escape. And those are the type of things he's thinking. So he steals the key, gives it to the alchemist. Alchemist gives him the gold coin. Guy bites it and then he falls over. And that's the end of the chapter. The alchemist like picks up the coin. That's exactly how Arya kills the guy in Bravos. The guy who counts coins and bites them. She's
Oh, the guy she sells oysters to, right?
Dude,
In the show.
So in the books, I think she's way more of a goat about it. So I think in the books, her plan is to like somehow swap out a coin on the guy's desk with a poison coin. But instead, I think she gets caught on the way and ends up just running away from a guy and slicing. And on the way, she slices somebody's purse and spills coins all over the ground.
Yeah. And slips it in.
And just slips her and just throws hers in. So she gets caught and still manages to like slip in the poison coin, I think, in the books, which is just fucking sick. I'm not 100% sure if that's true, but I think that's how it goes. But yeah, so where the fuck were we going with that? The Pate.
So now you got to get to the other the prologue or the epilogue.
Alchemist in that story turns out to have the exact same features that the last person, when Arya changes her face, when Jaqen changes her face in front of Arya to the new face has the exact same features as the alchemist, the person who gives the poison coin to Pate. So then that's the end of that story. We don't hear about that again.
Wait, what do you mean the last time
So
he changed it in
when-
front of Arya? At
When
Harrenhal?
Jaqen says bye-bye now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the face he puts on.
It's like there's a guy with a long face and brown eyes with a hook scar above his right cheek, and then it's literally like almost like word for the exact same thing as the description of the alchemist, who's the one that does the coin thing with Pate.
Gotcha.
That's the end of that. That's the end of that. He dies. We don't have anybody else at the Citadel until
Nobody
Sam
bangs
gets there.
the daughter.
2 books later, we don't hear about it. Sam gets there 2 books later at the end of the in the epilogue of, or the last Sam chapter, I guess, of book 5, and he goes in there and Pate's there. And we know Pate died in the prologue. So, like, what the fuck? But if you piece together, oh, fuck, Jaqen killed Pate. And then once Arya starts getting new faces,
Jaqen
Pate's
stole his
there.
face.
So Jaqen is with Sam at the Citadel at the end of book 5, along with Solar Sand, one of the Sand Snakes. So that's like wherever the fuck that storyline's going is going to be fucking sick
and
as
we
fuck.
know
Jaqen,
that
Sam, and Solar Sand in the same place. Are you kidding
we
me?
know that Dorn plays a much bigger role.
Yeah, the Dorn shit's way bigger in the books. That's
yeah,
fucking.
it sucks that they fucked up the Dorn storyline, honestly.
Yeah. So this is the intro. This is the intro to the Jaqen, who you just know is just such a god at killing people and just deception, and he's like Austin Powers in The Master of Disguise. Jaqen Agar.
It's not who Austin Powers is, but
What's his name?
International Man of Mystery, but yes.
but
No,
there
no.
is a movie. There's a movie called Master of Disguise, and it's
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember.
It's
a
the
really
guy who
funny
plays Michael
movie.
Myers.
It is him.
Michael
It's the guy-
Myers.
Is it Michael Myers? It's the guy who plays
his
fucking
name is
Austin
Michael
Powers.
Myers.
Michael Myers.
I don't know if it is him.
It is him.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
Turtle.
Yeah, it's him, right, Chloe?
It's
pretty sure
no,
it
it's
is.
not. It's Dana Carvey. It's not him.
Okay,
They're
I'm
completely
wrong.
different people.
I'm wrong.
I'm gonna bring it up just to prove Nelson wrong.
Oh, you're right. It is Danny Carvey. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean you're a fool to even think that they were the same.
Dude, that movie has a horrible rating. That's not Michael Myers, dude.
No, it's Dana fucking Carvey. We just Googled it. What do you mean?
I mean, from fucking, is that Wayne's World?
I guess so. I never saw it.
Oh, Mike Myers is in Wayne's World. By chance.
He's
Wait a
the
minute.
other guy in Wayne's World,
Oh,
right?
that's why I'm
Yeah,
fucked up.
yeah.
I thought that was the same person. I thought they did like one of those
No.
trickery things that like fucking
No.
who's
They don't even
and
look.
Eddie Murphy always does, where he's the character that plays.
Well,
like, he's
Mike
every
Myers
role.
does that too. Mike Myers is like
Exactly.
4
That's
people.
why I thought.
and,
That's why I thought he was
In
the
Austin
one from
Powers,
fucking
yeah.
Wayne's World,
Nah.
and then I thought he was the one from Master of Disguise. I thought it
dude,
was the same
I've
person.
seen Master of
Hollywood
Disguise
fucked
so
me.
much. It's what did they give it? A 3.3 out of 10. Oh my god,
it's
it's
like
so much
1.8
better
I've
than
seen
that.
that movie.
Yeah, maybe it's not worth it. It's
Dude,
really
I
not that good. There's like
dude,
two
watch
good
it, Chloe.
scenes.
It's funny. No, it's funny. Bullshit.
Have you seen the
I
Love
remember
Guru?
being a
It's
kid.
Like, it's like slightly worse than the Love Guru.
I remember being a kid and being super sick, like with the stomach bug, watching the Master of Disguise. And my mom made me like mashed potatoes, and for whatever reason, like just settled my stomach, and I'm just eating mashed potatoes, watching Master of Disguise.
Dude, mashed
And it's
potatoes,
funny.
I haven't had them in forever.
They're
I
overrated.
need
I'd
some
rather
mashed
have a fry
potatoes.
any day. But
What?
No way. Mashed potatoes. You're
No
not
way.
Irish. You're
Mashed
Italian.
potatoes.
I would make.
You're Italian, not Irish.
I'd make potatoes 4 different ways before mashed.
You think is Glow? You're Irish, right? You're Polish
Yeah.
or something.
I'm Irish and Polish.
So we have way more say on potatoes than it's like us telling you how to make spaghetti. You know what I mean? Come on, get the fuck out of here. Mashed potatoes is better.
Then a
Mashed
baked
potatoes are
potato?
Yeah.
No, it's
They're
not.
close.
It's very
They're
different.
close.
They're close, but I give mashed.
What would
potatoes
you
the
rather
edge.
have, a baked potato or a mashed potato?
Mashed potato.
Would you
Mashed
rather
potato.
have French fries or mashed potato?
Mashed potato.
You're
Mashed
crazy.
potato.
You're
I'd
absolutely
rather have a
crazy.
baked
Yeah, you're
potato over
crazy.
fries, just because it's a little
Fans,
healthier.
weigh in. Anyone who listens to this,
Hold on, I want to keep going. Home fries, like breakfast home fries, or mashed potatoes?
home fries.
That's tough.
Okay, it's not tough.
Well,
it's
What kind of home
potatoes.
fries? Shredded or
No,
squares?
yeah, there's so many different ways to make home fries, and
What's better, squares or shredded home fries?
Shredded.
Depends how they're seasoned.
How about this? How
Depends how they're
about
seasoned.
our cafeteria's diced potatoes with little onions and peppers on it? I know you like that.
Those are
Nelson.
banging, obviously.
Way better than
I mean,
mashed
all
potatoes.
bang. No, I don't,
Right now, mashed potatoes is 3 in your books off
I
of
don't know
that.
about I don't know about that.
no.
I just
No.
did
All right, let's
it.
end this. Let's end this podcast. We're going on about nothing. Glow's frozen. I don't like it now. Do we have anything to talk about in this podcast? Hot pie. What goes on? I don't think Arya and Hot Pie really care about each other like they do in the show and the books. Really.
Hot Pie's gonna get like dumped soon, isn't he?
But he like stood up for Arya, which I think is what gets them back on good footing. Maybe.
But he doesn't
Well,
really
no,
stick
no,
up for
yeah,
Arya.
he stands up for Gendry.
Well, no, he stood up before they knew what the deal was. They didn't have
But
to
he's
do
just
it.
really
standing up
for
to standing
Arya.
up. Like he's just like a kid, kind of like Arya. Like
Did he
oh,
really
let me
stand
just
up? All he
fight.
did was grab a stone.
I mean, he didn't hide. He could have ran away. You know,
Yeah, I know.
if Arya was a real boss, she would have stayed there and fought from the beginning. But I'm just kidding. I love Arya.
All right,
right.
guys, thanks for listening. Please be sure to like and subscribe on whatever you're listening to.
Bye,
and
guys.
share it with all your friends, too. We'll see you on the next show for John 1.
Comment, like.
And The Night is Dark and Full of Terrors.
Bye.